Welcome back. This is part 2 of the Antioch CSI UK presentation. I originally left off at additional materials, and we're going to move on from here. The learning outcomes that helped us to form the entire curriculum came from Alyssa, Anna, and I brainstorming along with Jerry to figure out what we want the students to be able to do coming away from this class. So we want the students to be able to differentiate and translate from scientific information to a lay or audience or the general public. Review trends in environmental education, both historical and current research, what's going on right now. Identify the principles of environmental education. Review the field of environmental education in the state of Kentucky, so to familiarize themselves with all the wonderful things that are going on in the state of Kentucky right now. Look at both learning and teaching theories. In our week that we call developmental considerations and learning theories, we look at how people learn. And also the students will have a chance to teach each other and look at what makes an effective teacher. We also wanted the students to be able to employ hands-on learning experiences. Hands-on learning is a very important part of environmental education, and we wanted the students to feel comfortable using this as a tool in delivering environmental education. They'll continue to analyze the relationships between humans and the natural systems and are able to employ the skills needed for environmental evaluation of programs or program evaluation of environmental education. So, week by week, this is what the schedule looks like. The first week is an introduction to the class and an overview. So this will get the students familiarized with each other, with the program or the class, with the syllabus, and working on group agreements within the class. Then we'll move on to history and trends in EE, looking at what is EE and what isn't EE, answering the question of why environmental education by looking at environmental literacy and identity, looking at EE through the lens of formal education, how that fits into the formal traditional classroom, and also the non-formal context, nature centers, citizen science, community education, looking at those developmental considerations and how people learn, and then applying those things to creating lessons and curriculum. Looking at a broader scope of program planning. How do you make an effective program? How do you address the needs of everybody in the community? So looking at both diversity and making inclusive environmental education programs. Also looking at how we evaluate these programs. Are these programs being effective? This is something that is very important in environmental education, and as we said already, that was one of the learning outcomes. Looking at environmental education in the digital age, how technology and environmental education can meet together. And then there will be 2 weeks of presentations. And this is part of the cumulative project that's going on. Of course, there's Dead Week, and this is the time to reflect back on what the students have learned and celebrate the semester. And of course, finals. This is when that the written piece to their cumulative final project is due.
So the bulk of our work took place doing this curriculum and making this teacher's guide, and we were really excited about a lot of the classes that we developed. We put a lot of hard work and time into them, and we could never possibly explain each of them. So we just wanted to highlight some of the assignments that we were most proud of and that we thought really addressed the learning objectives that Annie just outlined. And it's really exciting and it's really unique, this curriculum, because we worked as a team to develop it. We really have a variety of perspectives. being represented throughout the course. And it's really ideal for reaching a variety of students who each have different wants and needs. Also, we really thought that it was important to use the pedagogy that EE typically uses and promotes and believes in to teach our students. Therefore, a lot of our lessons are applicable and place-based. They focus on experiential and hands-on learning and emphasize the real-world context. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about was this big project, which is a cumulative project that takes place throughout the semester, and it's various pieces and assignments that happen and fit within the schedule and the course schedule in a timely manner. And there's about 5 parts to it. So I won't explain all of them, but for example, this first one, Say It Again, Sam, really speaks to the learning objective of being able to differentiate and write for a scientific and lay audience. So the students will find a peer-reviewed scholarly article on a topic of their choosing and then have to rewrite it for an audience of their choice. So learning how to translate that jargon and information into a way that's understandable. They'll also be creating logic models, observing organizations, and then those big final presentations are going to kind of incorporate all of that, and they're going to have to teach a lesson that they've developed and that they've been working on throughout the course. There's also a lot of other assignments that we were really excited about, and those emphasize different topics. So for the first one listed here, it's just some poster collages focusing on non-formal ed, so trying to get them to think a little bit outside the box, writing reflection papers, critiquing lessons using different guidelines that exist out there that are really important in the field of EE. The lab times are used for field trips and really getting to know EE in the state of Kentucky. So they do a lot of traveling and researching places around the state to see what's happening and get acquainted with the trends in their community. And all of the activities kind of speak to those. So it was really important for us to include assessment and evaluation, and we understand that University of Kentucky and professors and facilitators have their own way of weighting assignments and grading students' work, but we wanted to provide an outline, at least just to show what we thought was really important and what we thought that the facilitator should focus on. So as you can see, we have a really heavy emphasis on participation, both in class and online, and then our final portfolio, and then the quizzes that we set up throughout the course. There's only 3 of them, aren't weighted as heavily, and then other assignments are just 15% as well. And there's a really important piece to us of this ongoing assessment of students' learning and how they're feeling. So one thing that in every class, there's a note to the facilitator to offer this time for students to submit their one thing that they really are liking about the class and one thing that they would change. And hopefully the facilitator will take the time and incorporate what the students are responding with and adjust accordingly. We also, we just wanted to highlight some of the recommendations that we made. So you'll see a full document in the report that you receive from us, but just to outline that, our main goal was to have environmental ed introduced into the curriculum as an ASDA or an ESEA, and in order to do that, it needs 3 classes, and we were only able to do 1. And so given the research that we've done and the project goals, we wanted to just give some information to move forward. And this class will be taught in spring 2013, and we do believe that UK should offer 2 more classes. And there's various ways that this could happen. So University of Kentucky can work with affiliated universities and colleges or create new partnerships to offer classes for students. We think that this is really feasible because grant funding for salary positions, especially at an institution of higher ed, is really hard to come by. So we think that looking internally for funding is the best option for course development. And we just we we really want to emphasize the importance that the field of EE is growing, and that your students will have really highly marketable skills and would really benefit from having EE as a concentration in their undergraduate studies. So we really hope that University of Kentucky continues to work towards this goal. Just finishing up, we wanted to thank who we've been working with at the Antioch University of New England. So our advisors, Libby McCann, Sarah Bacchus, and Jim Gruber, as well as our supervisor and contact person at the University of Kentucky, Jerry. And we really this was such a great opportunity for all of us, and we learned so much, and we really enjoyed it, and it was such a great way to wrap up our master's degree at Antioch University. And so we just wanted to open it up that if you have any questions, you should feel free to email us or Jerry. And we just wanted to thank you for your time.